Job 34, 1 through 36, 33. Then Elihu continued, saying, My words, you wise men, and listen to me, you knowledgeable ones. Doesn't the ear test words is right? Let us decide together what is good. For Job has declared, I am righteous, yet God has deprived me of my case. My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. What man is like Job? He drinks derision like water. He has said, a man gains nothing when he becomes God's friend. Therefore, listen to me, you men of understanding. It is impossible for God to do wrong, and for the Almighty deeds, and he brings his ways on him. Indeed, it is true that God does not act wickedly, and who gave him authority over the earth? Who put him in charge of the entire world? If he put his mind to it, and withdrew the spirit and breath he gave, every living thing would perish together, and mankind would reach. You have understanding, hear this. Listen to what I have to say. Could one who hates justice govern the world? Will you condemn the mighty righteous one, who says to a king, worthless man, and to nobles, wicked men? God is not partial to princes, and does not favor the rich over the poor, for they are all the work of his hands. They die suddenly in the middle of the night. People shudder, then are removed without effort. For his eyes watch over a man's ways, and he observes all his steps. There is no darkness, no deep darkness, where evildoers can hide themselves. God does not need to examine a person further, that one should approach him in court. He shatters the mighty without an investigation, and sets others in their place. Therefore, he recognizes their deeds and overthrows them by night, and they are crushed in full view of the public. He strikes them for their wickedness, because they turned aside from following him and did not understand any of his ways, but caused the poor to. But when God is silent, who can declare him guilty? When he hides his face, who can see him? Yet he watches over both individuals and nations, so that godless men should not rule or ensnare the people. Suppose someone says to God, I have endured my punishment, cannot see. If I have done wrong, I won't do it again. Should God repay you on your terms when you have rejected his? You must choose. So declare what you know. Reasonable men will say to me, along with the wise men who hear me, Job speaks without knowledge. His words are without insight. If only Job were tested to the limit, because his answers are like those of wicked men. For he adds rebellion to his sin. He scorns against God. Then Elihu continued, saying, Do you think it is just when you say, I am righteous before God? For you ask sin. I will answer you and your friends with you. Look at the heavens and see. Gaze at the clouds high above you. If you sin, how does it affect God? If you multiply your transgressions, what does it do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give him? Or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness affects a person like yourself, and your righteousness another human being. People cry out because of severe oppression. They shout for help from the arm of the Almighty. But no one asks, where is God my Maker, who provides us with songs in the night of the earth, and makes us wiser than the birds of the sky? There they cry out, But he does not answer because of the pride, does not listen to empty cries, and the Almighty does not take note of it. How much less when you complain that you do not see him, that your case is before him and you are waiting for him. But now, punish, and he does not pay attention to transgression. Job opens his mouth in vain and multiplies words without knowledge. Then be patient with me a little longer, and I will inform you. For there is still more to be said on God's behalf. I will ascribe righteousness to my Maker, for my arguments are without flaw. One who has perfect knowledge is with you. Yes, God is mighty. He understands all things. He does not keep the wicked alive, but he gives justice to the afflicted. He does not remove, he seats them forever with enthroned kings, and they are exalted. If people are bound with chains and trapped by the cords of affliction, God tells them what they have done and insists they repent from iniquity. If they serve him obediently, they will end their days in prosperity. But if they do not obey, they will cross the river of death and die without knowledge. Those who have a godless heart harbor anger. Even when God binds them, they do not cry out. They do not cry for help. They die in their youth. Their life ends among male cult prostitutes. God rescues the afflicted by means of their torment. Indeed, he lured you from the jaws of distress to a spacious and unconfined place. Your table was spread with choice food, yet now you are obsessed with the judgment due the wicked. Judgment and justice have seized you. Be careful that no one lures you with riches. Do not let a large ransom lead you astray. Can your wealth or all your physical exertion keep you from when nations will disappear from their places? Be careful that you do not turn to iniquity, for that is why you have been tested by his power, who is a teacher like him, who has appointed his way for him, and who has declared, you have done wrong. Remember that you should pray about. All mankind has seen it. People have looked at it from a distance. His exalted number of his years cannot be counted. For he makes water drops evaporate. He distills the rain into its mist on mankind. Can anyone understand how the clouds spread out, or how the thunder roars from God? He spreads his lightning around him and covers the depths of the sea. For he judges the nations with these, covers his hands with lightning, and commands it to hit its mark. The thunder declares his presence, the cattle also. Um, 2 Corinthians 4, 1 through 12. Therefore, since we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we do not give up. Instead, we have renounced shameful secret things, not walking in deceit or distorting God's message, but in God's conscience by an open display of the truth. But if, in fact, our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. Regarding them, the God of this age has blinded the minds of the unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. For we are not proclaiming ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as your slaves because of Jesus. For God, who said, "Light shall shine out of darkness," he has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of God's glory in the face of Jesus Christ. Now, we have this treasure in clay jars so that this extraordinary power may be from God and not from us. We are pressured in every way, but not crushed. We are persecuted, but not abandoned. We are struck down, but not destroyed. That the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. For we who live are always given over to death. Jesus' life may also be revealed in our mortal flesh. So, death works in us, but life in you. And since we have the same spirit of faith, in accordance to what is written, I believed, therefore I spoke. We also believe, and therefore speak. Okay, so I want. Proverbs 22:10 through 12. Drive out a mocker, and conflict goes too. Then lawsuits and dishonor will cease. The king is his friend. The Lord's eyes keep watch over knowledge, but he overthrows the words of the treacherous.